adventurism is driving me to go deep into the Onyama mines. It is the biggest coal mine in the whole of South. Well, the coronation of the new Oni is a watershed in the history of the Yoruba land generally, and Ife in particular. Now, because they have a leader now, that will... Simply put, Gura is a beautiful countryside with awesome landscapes. If something differently would be done to the Nigerian textile industries, that our youth would be employed. Only the people that attend the church here can tell you.
Service in Holy Rosa is in
We are taking a canoe tour of the communities on the bank of River Niger in Kesu.
If the Emir of Yawuri in Kebbi State will have his way, his kingdom will be the ultimate tourism destination of Nigeria. It is not there yet, but it is not for lack of will or absence of potentials. The Emir is building a dreamland where his emirate will be a new Mecca, a place where pilgrims come from all over the world to commune with nature and find peace and relaxation in his tourism endowment, his enviable cultural heritage, and in its people who are ever warm and accommodating and proud of the leadership they have. As it stands, Yawuri Emirate is a compelling story of how sound and selfless leadership is transforming a largely agrarian community into the global map of agro-business, a gateway to epic tourism, environmental landmarks, and an enthralling cultural hub of global appeal. Yawuri is having its mothers, and its progress to the promised land is unimpeded. The world is not new to regatta and cultural festival. It is a tradition of great nobility and magnificence.
Yawuri Emirate is telling a story about what it is, its life, its livelihood, what keeps it busy, and what makes it different, unique in the whole of Kebbi State and in the whole of Nigeria. Can you look at this perspective? Look at this scenario. The people there have balanced themselves in canoe, like the people of my village find comfort living on land or balancing on motorcycles. Because the people of Yawuri are the people of River Niger. From it they find livelihood. From it they do their transport. From it they do their fishing. From it they also find expression in everything they do about their own culture. That is it. Now, what is happening again? For 4 years in Yawuri Emirate there is no regatta festival. And regatta has relationship with their water tradition. When it resumes this year, believe me, Yawuri is seeing the number of people it has never seen in its life. I may not be lying too much, but then of course, I'm not too far from the truth. And the life here has been most exciting all day long. Now look at that. Look at the number of people that have come here just to witness regatta this year. You can't count them. You can't number them. And of course, you cannot separate them.
Yawuri Emirate is stamping its feet deep on the ground and wanting to draw attention to the pictures it has and what amazing pictures it has. It has been loud for too long about it. Now it wants to shout. It is regatta and its cultural festival again. Already, it is building up to being an exceptional showbiz, the like of which is rare in Nigerian space. It is a purposeful festival whose drive is to add value to the Nigerian state and bring to global attention the people of Yawuri Emirate. The cultural festival is a multi-event extravaganza, and each event has a purpose and a mission. It never goes beyond 3 days, but if you are a party, it can stick for 3 decades. Yawuri Emirate is a riverine community. All its 3 local government areas have River Niger in their backyard. Kebbi State has over 380 kilometer stretch of River Niger to itself, the largest coverage of the eternal river in the country. Yawuri may have 200 kilometers of it. Proximity to River Niger allows for extensive social and economic activities all year round for the people of Yawuri. It is the main inspiration for their regatta and cultural festival. It is the backbone of their prosperity. Perhaps the greatest influence of River Niger to the people of Yawuri Emirate is in their agriculture. It allows for all year-round cultivation of crops, some of which are unique to the Emirate. It is a massive agriculture that includes fishing. Their land area is no less valuable, and in fact suitable for the cultivation of unique type of onions that are small and pepperish and identified nationally as Yawuri onion. In context of their agricultural abundance, the festival always builds a classic agricultural show. It is an essential component of the festival, and the desire is to showcase to investors the agric wonderland that is Yawuri.
When we speak of agriculture, anywhere we go, you know that Nigeria is a powerhouse. In Yawuri, we have come to witness not only agriculture, but the will and the effort of an individual to promote livelihood of not only his individuals, or his community, or his emirate, but anybody that has anything to come in touch with him. Now, one of the main things that he does is to showcase the vast natural resources that his land has been empowered with and show it to the world.
Yawuri is actually a food basket that has never been known. But then in Yawuri, every single crop that is growing in Nigeria, from oil palm to cocoa to kola nuts to yams and to all the grains that you know about are being grown, sugar cane are being grown in Yawuri.
Yeah, look, Professor,
but then just take a look.
Sorry.
Take a look.
Yeah, I cannot even raise it. But
this
please,
is a typical cassava tuber.
But whoever can think that
Yawuri Emirate.
Whoever can think that Yawuri can produce tubers of cassava
like this.
No, it's,
and you know it's then you know if we just take cassava now, you know cassava is being processed not just for gari but for starch and ethanol.
Yes.
Now the demand for cassava globally has increased by about 70%. And now we have to make these people realize that they are sitting on a gold mine.
Yes.
But they are not aware.
I went through every stand at this agri show and marveled at the variety and beauty that there are in the agriculture of these people. The cassava magic, soya beans in which they have 5 varieties, yam, sweet potato, banana plantain, mango and of course rice. If at the end of the festival, the people of Yawuri, for example, can have access to rice processing intervention on a large scale, thousands will be empowered. It will create chain of activities and livelihoods around millions of bags of paddy they cultivate. It is generally a positive and reassuring display that with the Yawuri, the nation has an ally in its drive for food security.
One would be convinced that there's no reason for hunger in this country. We have all what it takes to feed our people. This country is blessed with the main capital. Capital are human beings, and we have the landmass. If you see variety of products that is being produced here, it's not about feeding ourselves. We have to export.
I captured the emir going around the agri show stands with the passion and compassion of a father. He must be excited by some good news shared by experts on the cultivation of especially sorghum. Crops, fruits and vegetables apart, I was enamored by the rich display of livestock endemic to Yawuri Emirate at the agri show, and of course the general variety that are common. There are these dwarf species of goats, a special species of white donkeys, and generally a rich montage of fascinating livestock that either support production or livelihood. The roadside at Yawuri Regatta and Cultural Festival can be chalked and it can be feisty. Music and dance make up a chunk of the roster, and they are thematic. There is not a dance, but it has peculiar moments when it happens. Yawuri is multi-ethnic. Across the ethnic varieties are different shades of spectacular music and dances that leave behind echoing presences. In a particular evening, the dancers were assembled. Their display reinforced the versatility and competence of Yawuri Emirate to be in the tourism board of every embassy in Nigeria. In the north generally, occupational groups do have dance groups to reflect the heritage of their art. So farmer groups, hunters, blacksmiths, local barbers all were in parade to make a display of their art. They are the ethnic entities of the Emirate too, who are strictly speaking North Hausa, but they are a farming community and share the same larger environment. Their dances reflect what happens when the harvest is done, or when there is a wedding, or indeed when there is a festival. These are dances and songs you don't see anywhere. Yawuri is generally an accommodating environment and peaceful. At any event at the Emirate level, Nigerian ethnic identities resident there come out to identify with the event and also be an integral part of it. Throughout the regatta period, these entities are pleasant presences as intrinsic members of an all-embracing emirate. The root cause of greatness of every land and every nation in the world is accommodation. When it was music and dance time, their participation was seamless and appreciated. When groups turn to an evening out, not much insight about their life story can be learned. On the final day of the regatta, I followed up on the unique costumes of some of these dancers, inquired about their lives and got some insights.
When you think about the dance of these Gungawa people, is that they have a rich variety of young girls. And like many other dances, when you have mature people doing so, these are young girls. Many of them are married. Arigi, ni abin da ya dame ni. Na ƙananan 'yan mata ne. To suna zuwa makaranta?
There is no money for them to be at school. They are engaged mostly on farm activities, except there's a situation where someone decides to sponsor a person. Otherwise, we the Dukawa take only to agriculture, and we know it's never enough.
Saboda mu Dukawa noma kawai, to noma kawai yana yi ne.
Another wonderful dimension to this festival is support for enterprises and competitiveness in entrepreneurship.
The major objective of this event is to improve on the economic well-being of the citizens. And you have seen youth participating. And those youths that have participated in the activities have been well rewarded with very mouth-watering gifts and prizes. And we feel that will encourage the youth.
Throughout, artisans and youth groups come forward to compete in tailoring, skinning of goats, and similar like enterprises. Winners of various events were handsomely rewarded as a measure of encouragement to advance their craft. There was also an elaborate trade fair in place, where traders were given chance to take advantage of the large market provided by the days of the festival. It was also a get-together point where farmers interface with the buyers, investors, manufacturers of farm facilities like machinery, seeds, insecticide, fertilizers, and provision of extension services. Emir Muhammad Zayan Abdullahi, in particular, took a particular interest in what the Emporium is doing by visiting its various stands. The regatta is the climax of the 3-day event and perhaps the most engaging. Here, the water spirit of the people of Yawuri is invoked and they showcase their art of living with the river Niger. Side was already breathing heavy with interested humanity when we arrived. We were in time to capture the Emir, Muhammad Zayan Abdullahi, and the Kebbi State governor sensationally arrived the Benue by boat. A speech on the day can be an anticlimax, but I had the state governor, Dr. Nasiru Yusuf, assuring the people of Yawuri that by next year the festival will hold on its permanent site. A very pleasant story to hear, because the present Benue, although not altogether small, is nonetheless a far cry from the humanity that annually turn out for the event. Perhaps, as a measure of appreciation of his continued support and love for the people of Yawuri, the people gave him a gift of live hippopotamus captured from the waters of the Emirate.
Some communities give horses, some communities give vehicles, some communities give cows to their visiting dignitaries. In Yawuri's case, we have given a live hippopotamus to the government. So that suggests that the saying that Yawuri is a riverine community is not a folktale, it's a reality.
The hippo story is an interesting one, but the water story continues. It was an interesting and intense afternoon of competitive water sport. It was almost picture perfect, and you are almost spoiled for choice of what event to watch. The water sees various shades of canoes on display of skill or on commercial trips to hundreds of riverine communities along the path of River Niger. The riverside was essentially for water sport. Key to the competition was canoeing for male and female. Yet, there is a swimming competition for men and women as well, and it mainly entails butterfly style, but of course not limited to it. By the way, the men cover more distance during this swimming competition than the women. Perhaps the most amusing of the competition is swimming for boys, where they have pot delicately balanced on their head. If the pot skips and tumbles, the competitor is out. The more interesting bit of the sport, however, is the sink business. Competitors will go underwater, and the last race is said above water is the winner. As the events are going on the sidelines are pleasant distractions that add value to the whole event. The spectators never fail to amaze me. Many defied gravity to float on water. Within the competition, there are swimmers on good and sundry other competitive events that leave all in attendance in awe and delight. The regatta proper is a festival of color, an invocation of ancient Yawuri tradition, a top chart of water work of art. A new wife in this ancient tradition is taken to her house in a flotilla of carefully decorated canoes and manned by able-bodied youths at her home on riverside amidst great fanfare, The procession had the new wife and her train and all the cultural or traditional attachment when carrying a new wife to her new home. In the context of this festival, the new wife is guided to special guests, the governor of Kebbi State and the Emir of Yawuri, who of course are her advisors and guardians on how to have a long life of marriage, peaceful and fruitful. In context of the background, class and beauty of this competition, it is important Yawuri expand its contact line to find support from other sources. Evidently, they have visibility with the federal government, and in fact, the Chief of Staff to Mr. President Femi Bajabiamila is a traditional title holder of the first Sadoki of Yawuri. He never fails to honor the festival. This year, however, he delegated, and his delegate is his longtime political ally, right from the time they were at the House of Representatives, Sunusi Garba Rikiji. This he does as a measure of the respect, honor, and recognition he gives to the emirate. Rikiji will do well to lend his voice to the cause of Yawuri in the presidency.
This is a very exciting moment for every Nigerian on different aspects. And to sum it off, I want to say that Kebbi State is launching a social history that will certainly last forever. The federal government will support Yawuri Emirate Council going forward and the Kebbi State government so that we encourage the regatta to global level.
Again, the federal government through Hyperdeck has been doing a great deal to see riverine communities in Yawuri enjoy improved agriculture, safety in their water transportation, and improved fishing techniques.
Most of the big canoes you see there are from Benin Republic. Our people transport their goods over there, and their people transport their goods over here by the use of water transportation. So what we need and what the people require is government intervention in the procurement of bigger boats and also life jackets, and that we are working on that seriously. We have devoted a reasonable percentage of the Hyperdeck budget this year in the purchase of the life jacket and safer boat.
It is not an exaggeration to say that there is no annual cultural festival across the country that brings together an entire community of 3 local governments to the display of their heritage to the world like the Yawuri Regatta and Cultural Festival. The spirit to unite all his people and put them on the path of productivity and self-reliance has been the life vocation of their emir. He never wavers. He never stops believing that his people have all that it takes to be great, and they should have to be great.
Once farmers benefit from their farming, that will give them encouragement to do more. And fortunately, we have good market for everything in this country. Our rice is exported to Kano. Groundnut exported to Kano and other places. So that's why we want the government, especially the government of Kebbi State, which is up and doing, and encourage people to produce these things, so that will be exported not only within the country but overseas.
As a people in their upward journey to greatness, the Yawuri community do have an ending storylines. Potentially, as a riverine community, the federal government had at different circumstances pledges various degrees of support programs to enhance their economic life. Why there are that promises?
One Kingdom was constructed. Before then, both from Niger Delta, from other areas, they used to sail up to Nigeria with no obstruction. But with Kingdom, they cannot. They can only sail up to the dam. So we proposed, when we complained to the government, please do something so that this boat can sail up to Yawuri. There is cash. You know, the river at south part of the dam is low, while the upriver it is high. So the boats are put in container called lock. They are put there and water is pumped in the lock, so that the water will rise and the boat will, it is the level of what we have here. Then they can sail through. That has not been done. So there's no way, if that locks are not constructed, there's no way big boats wholesale can come here.
If I had a chance, I can tell the different life that Yawuri Regatta and Cultural Festival is all day long. It is a thoroughly pleasing and educating get-together, and one cannot wait for the next calendar of the ceremony. In summary, Yawuri Emirate is a treasure of hypnotic water environment that stimulates growth of culture and agriculture, a land environment of ethnic diversity with the rich culture of uncommon agriculture, and a life of unique songs and dances that comes with the day-to-day life of the society. And with that, I sign out.